Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well. Donald Trump either is serious about Ukraine, his bosses are serious, or it's just a game. What could it be? Why? Because Donald Trump said certain things that make Zelensky feel uncomfortable, or at least he says that Zelensky must hold elections. He says that it was long ago understood that Ukraine will not join NATO. That's news for me, all right? And we find out that Zelensky rejects the peace plan. Trump urges Zelensky to read the proposals. He first said he didn't read the 19-point peace plan, Trump's. And Zelensky said, I read it. Yeah, I read it. And then Trump says again, well, I urge you to accept what's in it, start accepting the peace proposals and read it first. Zelensky is becoming a batch a little bit here. Then what do we have next? Then supposedly, I mean, this is crazy. They claim that Trump tries to sideline the European Union in the peace process. They're not in it. As Dmitriev of the negotiator, the Russian negotiator with, what's his name, Kushner and Witkov said, you're not in the game, told Germany. So stop talking, we're not talking to you. And this guy said Trump pushes Zelensky to sideline Europe in peace talks. They're not in the lines to sideline them. And then listen to this. United States of America must not threaten the European Union's democracy. This is according to Brussels. This is ridiculous. This is unbelievably like a parody. Oh, you should not threaten our democracy. First, you don't have a democracy there. Democracy doesn't work there. Look what you guys did to France, to Romania, and so on. Don't give me that BS. All right. You know, these guys want to take Russia's frozen assets and give it to Ukraine as a loan. That means the Ukrainian people will have to pay it back with interest. I wonder, to whom? To the Russians? To whom? Who's gonna lend the money to the Ukrainians? Is it gonna be the Brussels? Is it gonna be the international banking system? Is it gonna be the Rothschild himself? Who's gonna do it? And after these guys get the money, if they get the money with interest, who are they paying that? To the Russians? So that means these Rothschilds and all these guys, the international banking system is just working in behalf of the Russian state? I mean, like a pimp? Oh my God. So, we have a little problem here. There's some, remember, always, when they say we, Europe, they, ask who exactly are they? Who exactly is we? And the Europe, do you mean the whole Europe? That means 100%, or some countries in Europe? Details are very important. Well, they say the international community is, what do you mean international community? Like 3 countries? 194 from the United Nations? How many? Ask these details. Or, for instance, when they say, people say that you are a bad person. You say, what people? Who? How many? I mean, I'm not talking if you have 1% of the population. I mean, the 99 is for me, 1 is for you or against me. So again, ask details are very important. They always generalize to make it bigger or sometimes smaller. So France doesn't allow the European Union to use Russia's assets. Japan doesn't cooperate. The guys in Belgium do not cooperate. Who the hell are going to cooperate? I'm going to tell you who. The Lithuanian. The Lithuanians are going to allow the Russian frozen assets in Lithuania to be used. And then you ask when Russia has enough of Lithuania. A little incident just occurs why the Russians don't give the same courtesy to Lithuania as they gave, let's say, to Ukraine. You say, oh my God, it's not courtesy. When the Russians are going to be getting the green light to strike Lithuania, Estonia, Latvia, and definitely Poland, they will not do a special military operation, 100 drones, and here and there, like in Ukraine. You'll see. I hope we don't see, but they're pushing it. Then the next one is we find out that the British Prime Minister says that the deal to release frozen Russian assets for Ukraine days away. Who that? Who are those guys? Well, we're going to read about it. And then we say, we look here at an article from Russia Today, but it's an ex-Royal Navy chief who claims that Britain, and I'm quoting the exact word he used, incapable, that is, you're not able, you're disabled, you're incapable of running nuclear submarines, and they want to fight Russia. And guess why they can't run nuclear submarines? Not because they don't have the energy, and they don't have something else. The British discipline is gone. Why? We have a different Britain right now. Very inclusive. Next. Zelensky meets the Pope. I always disliked when politicians meet religious leaders, or the Pope, or or patriarchs, or whomever. I never like that. I think, that's my personal opinion, and it's not based on opinion actually, it's based on what they say they are. They should be taking care of something else, with the soul, you know what I mean? Saving the soul, not to get into wars. Those times were gone when we had the pontiff, the guy from, let's say, Rome, telling who's going to be a king, who's not going to be a king, how much money you have to give me so I can tell everybody that you're a king. Those days are gone. Otherwise, you're going to burn in hell and so on. These things, I hope they're gone, but they could come back. So I would keep the religion out of the politics as much as they're not intertwined. So Zelensky meets the Pope, and they discuss Ukraine war. The Pope discusses the Ukraine war. I personally disagree with that. And then we find out that actually the Russians, when they filed the genocide case against Ukraine, do you know about that? So the Russians filed with the United Nations Court of Justice, not to the United Nations Court of Justice, when they filed that complaint and they said genocide, Ukrainian genocide occurs in eastern part of Ukraine, which is the guys from Kiev killed the ethnic Russians, not the Russian-speaking population. That's garbage. I can go right now to Zimbabwe and start speaking their language, and I'm Zimbabwean. The Zimbabwean speaking whatever. No, I'm ethnically not Zimbabwean, as I'm ethnically not British, and so on. So the same here. Those guys in eastern Ukraine are not speakers of a different language. They are ethnically members of another group. Well, they say Ukrainians and the Russians are the same, but hey, some people say not. At least cousins, maybe brothers. So, United Nations Court to hear Russia's counterclaim in Ukraine genocide case. So the Russians claim we entered in Luhansk, Donetsk, and all those little areas because of the genocide occurring over there, perpetrated by Kiev regime with the help of the free world. And everybody's like, oh my God, no. Well, it seems like they're gonna hear those things, those claims, or those charges. All right, let's start with the first topic, which is a thing that legally was understood, and Trump is right, but factually they changed. So, Ukrainska Pravda. This is from December 9th, 2025. Trump says, and I'm quoting, long before Putin, it was an understanding that Ukraine would not be going into NATO. Look at him. Now, when he said long before Putin, Putin came to power in December 31st, 1999. So before that it was, I was about to say Brezhnev, Jesus Christ. It was Yeltsin, okay? So it was Yeltsin. Remember, during Yeltsin times, the Americans did whatever they wanted to Russia. Russia was ruled by the oligarchs, which were an expression, a consequence of the freedom that Russia enjoyed after the breakup of Soviet Union, which was the right people took over Russia's resources, and Russian people became happy consumers, poor, and kind of like modern slaves. You know what I mean? You barely make it, therefore you have to work. Whatever the guy tells you, you gotta do it. Otherwise, you will be starving. So when Putin came into power, things changed. 1999. So let's put it January 1st, 2000. So he said long before Putin was understanding that Ukraine would not be going into NATO. Their long understanding could be only 10 years, because Ukraine, if you remember, it gained its independence again after 1918. I think it was after the First World War, when they briefly got independent, and then Trotsky, fuck them, Trotsky the Bernstein, not Trotsky the Ruski, no, Trotsky the Judsky, you know what I mean? So the Trotsky the Judsky, he got and took care of them, as he invaded Poland as well with his Red Army. He started the Red Army. Good for him, right? He invaded Poland, didn't he? And not only. Nevertheless, let's go back here. So in 1991, 1993, or whatever you want, Ukraine became independent, sovereign country. It was understood that they will not join NATO. They signed that Budapest Memorandum in 1999, and that was it. You don't join NATO, you don't join any military organization, not only NATO, nothing. You will not have nuclear weapons. You're gonna be a neutral state. All right, and that's it. And then we all guarantee that we are not going to fuck you up and come for your resources. Well, all that changed in 2014, when the good old West loves democracy, did something to a democratically elected government of Viktor Yanukovych, and they destroyed the balance, which is, no, you're going to be part of NATO. So Trump is talking about probably between 1994, the memorandum, and I don't know, 1999, December 31st, when Putin smack was dubbed in the middle. All right, so that's the one. Let me see what exactly the baboon said here. U.S. President Donald Trump has said that there has always been an understanding that Ukraine would not be going into NATO. Question: between whom? First, always like when? Since 1948? When? An understanding that Ukraine would not. Between whom and whom, I would like to know. Trump said in an interview, and I'm quoting, long before Putin, it was an understanding that Ukraine would not be going into NATO. This was long before Putin. In all fairness. And now they're pushed, when Zelensky first went in and first met Putin, he said, I want two things. I want Crimea back, and we're going to be a member of NATO. He didn't say it in a very nice way either. So, what's going on here? Well, I think Trump, if he's allowed, little by little will make Zelensky go away, or make Zelensky, I don't know if it's going to be a voluntary fly. I already spoke about that one. The options for Zelensky: on the shield or under the shield. Under the shield is going to go very wealthy, or very rich, not wealthy, very rich and very much respected by them. On the shield, it's clear. It's going to be a malfunction in the helicopter or something, or a missile that mistakenly thought that Zelensky's helicopter is a Russian one, you know what I mean, or technical difficulty. So let's go to the next one. Russia Today. No agreement reached with US on territory. December 9th. Kiev has once again refused to withdraw its troops from Donbass. Okay, and here is what Zelensky said. The Americans are in the mood to find compromises, but there are clearly difficult issues regarding territory, and no compromise has been reached there, Zelensky said. All right, well, good. So, as we know, Ukraine is a vassal state, or wanna be a big vassal state, and the Russians won't allow that. They said Ukraine should be a no man's land nowadays, or at least, or at best, we control it totally. Why? Because it's our sphere of influence, and I understand that that's the way it works. If you go back to the Monroe Doctrine, and that more than 100 and some years ago, it was like this. The South America is our backyard. Europe, you back away. So the sphere of influence was first implemented by these guys who told Philippines. Didn't the Americans tell Philippines, you are our sphere of influence and we are going to fuck you up? Wasn't that Philippines? I think it was Philippines. In that area, nevertheless. All right, let's go. It was not Indonesia, it was Philippines. The war in Philippines, remember? Do you know anything about that? Again, look over the map and find where Philippines are and where the United States of America is or are. All right, let's go to the next one. Trump suggests Zelensky read peace deal proposal. This is 2 hours ago today on the 9th of December. So this is not the yesterday one. Because yesterday I made a video where Trump said Zelensky did not read the proposal. And Zelensky said, how do you say in Yiddish? I read it. Kakapipi? Okay. Kakapipi. I read it. Okay. So the same here. And Trump said, I don't think you read it. Go and read it first. So he gives him another way for the bone. It's like a guy who tells you, I suggest you don't do that. I would advise you, strongly advise you. Or how do you call it? How do they say that in the Department of whatever in the state of Michigan? A friendly reminder. And I used to answer those emails much more friendlier reminder, much more friendlier reminder. Yeah, a friendly reminder, a gentle, as one was gentle, a gentle reminder. You do that or else. Such a fake thing. So the same here. The guy says, I suggest you read that. That means you are one move away from me getting angry. And if you get angry, who's going to listen to you, Trump? Let's see. I'm talking about domestically. Next, US turns up heat on Zelensky to accept Trump's peace plan. Report. Chuku, chuku, chuku. All right, let's go. The United States position towards Ukraine, Zelensky has hardened. Ooh, that's good. Including, now is the penetration is the next move. Including on issue of territory and control of Zaporozhye nuclear power plant. Zelensky is being pressured to accept a serious territorial concessions as part of President Donald Trump's proposed peace plan, says the report, citing Ukrainian officials. You got it? The US expected Zelensky to give an immediate approval during the call. All right? But no. A degree of progress was reported. So, next, Zelensky urges Trump urges Zelensky to start accepting peace proposals, not only read them. Why? I'm going to show you why. Zelensky must hold elections. You're not kind of legitimate anymore, boy. There it goes. The US president has pointed out that Russia has the upper hand and suggested that Ukraine has no chance of a military victory. And this is what Trump said in an interview in Politico. A much bigger country, Russia, and currently has the upper hand, and we are not willing to fight them for ya. And I'm going, at some point, size will win, and this is a massive size. Trump said that, to his knowledge, the Ukrainian leader still hasn't examined the latest US peace plan, even though Zelensky top officials love the proposal. A lot of people are dying, so it would be really good if he'd read it, he said. He's gonna have to get on the ball and start accepting things, Trump stated, adding that Zelensky is currently losing. When he said that Zelensky is losing, that is losing the support. Zelensky has been losing from the very beginning. It was that support, he was not losing the support. Do you remember how slavish the Europeans acted in 2022 and 2023? When they received this baboon everywhere, they rolled the red carpet, he was coming in a video conference in the Bundestag. Remember? In the German parliament and all this, and everybody was like, Hercules, Hercules, and he was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, shalom, shalom. Do you remember that one? Now, all that was given to him. He didn't earn anything. It was given to him. Problem is, don't lose your head, Zelensky, because they will find it. You know, scopes always find heads. All right, so, and it's not going to be a Russian scope. It's going to be a guys who promoted you, who opened doors for you, who elected you, who selected you, elected you. The guys who now promote you and support you, they're telling you nicely, mildly, gentle. Hey, get on track. The problem is the energies out there, those forces are not in agreement, it seems like. You know why? Because some of these forces, some of these interests consider that they are left out. They do not have any plunder rights. That's the whole thing over there. It's not should the Ukrainians be free or not. That's not the question. The question is how much I get from Ukraine. That's what it is. The energy, the banks, the military, the military infrastructure, industrial complex. These guys are debating how much I take from there. And some are bigger and some are less, depending on how much campaign donations you made and how many hints you gave the presidents or the politicians that they might lose something dearly. All right, next one. Zelensky must hold elections. So this is the pressure Trump wants to put, or the people behind him. He says like this: first, you have corruption, we're not going to send you money, and then you are illegitimate. I mean, it's almost 2 years after all. I understand, and then martial law and all that. I'm waiting for Trump to say it again, that actually, martial law, we held elections during the Second World War, so can you. I'm waiting. But Trump will not know that. He will be told that. The same with, it was an understanding long before Putin that it's an advisor told him that, and he's going to say it without understanding what was behind. Do you think he knows anything about the 991 promise, 994, and many, many other understandings? He doesn't. But they provide him with selected historical events, and he's just going to parrot them. I guarantee if someone would ask, what do you mean long before? Like how long? He would like, that's how people talk, generalities. All right, let's go. So that's what's going to be. The Ukrainian leader's presidential term. Do you see here? Ukrainian leader, because he's Ukrainian. Russia Today, change that. Russia Today, say the leader of Ukraine, or the gang-ringer, or whatever you want to call this guy. This guy is not Ukrainian. That's the first one. President term has expired last year, but he refused to hold a vote due to martial law. Last year in May, to be more exactly. U.S. President Donald Trump has urged Ukraine to hold elections. What do you mean Ukraine? You have to urge someone, not Ukraine overall, questioning the country's democratic credentials in an interview with Politico published on Tuesday. He appeared to issue a new challenge to Volodymyr Zelensky, whose presidential term expired in May 2024, but has declined to organize a presidential election, citing martial law. All right, so what do we have here? Trump told Politico that Kiev should no longer use the ongoing conflict as an excuse to delay a vote. But why were they allowed to use the ongoing conflict before? I mean, I think now is even worse than before. I mean, in the beginning, the Russians won a little bit, then they started losing. There you go. Elections. And now they're losing again, the Ukrainians. So remember, this is Ukraine. This is zero. Losing, and then winning, and now again they're losing. And now they should do it. Why didn't they do it at the beginning? Anyway, it's just they want to get rid of this guy. And this is for the baboons out there, to make them understand, well, yeah, man, yeah. I don't think he can hold elections, but he couldn't hold it 4 years, please. And I'm quoting, they haven't had an election in a long time. That's a year and almost 2 years. Trump said, they talk about a democracy, but it gets to a point where it's not a democracy anymore. Asked directly if Ukraine should go to the polls, Trump said it's time, and argued that it's an important time to hold an election, adding that while they're using war not to hold an election, should have that choice, the population. Well, they should, but they're owned, the population, the Ukrainian population. So who could win? Who would be the candidates? Maybe Zelensky could be one of them if he agrees with some concessions, which is personal concessions, not Ukrainian concessions. The other one could be Klitschko, the half-Jewish mayor of Kiev, Vitaly Klitschko, with his brother Vladimir Klitschko, and the other one could be Zaluzny, who is an MI6. I think he's under the protection of the English again, not the British, the English again. That's why he's over there in London waiting to take off and come to Ukraine. I don't know if he's going to have a safe landing. That's a different story, because he's not going to come by train. I think he's going to come by plane. And I think Zelensky is going to wait for him. Yes, now. Okay, next one. This comes from Ukrainska Pravda. Trump believes Ukraine should hold presidential elections now. Next, Trump pushes Zelensky to sideline Europe in peace talks. First, see here, Sideline Europe. All right, my first question is, what Europe? How many countries in Europe? Sideline who? Because remember, Europe has, I don't know, 27, 30, whatever countries it has. I'm sorry, I apologize. I don't know, something like this, 30 some countries. So if and they change all the time. Why? They create Kosovo today, they create Transylvania tomorrow. So we have here a continent. And we have Georgia, considered also in Europe, and Azerbaijan and Armenia and all that. So you have Europe. So to sideline Europe, overall, all together somewhere, the European Union is not Europe. Europe is not Europe because it's different nation states over there. And then you see who is negotiating for Europe. 3 countries. So this is not Europe, this is 3 countries. Not even 10% of the whole Europe they are talking about. They're not sidelining, they're sidelining the old guys that think they still have it. Germany, France, and Great Britain or England. These guys right here. And this is the boss looking. You're doing great. You're doing great. Give me the money and I will give you the change. Okay? Never. So these guys are Europe. Understand this. These guys are Europe. Well, let's say Albania. Albania is part of Europe. I don't see any Albanian here. Do you see any? Romanian, Hungarian, but this is Europe. No, it's not going to sideline. They sidelined themselves. Remember, it was not Putin who said, I'm not going to talk to you anymore, to Europe. It was Europe who received an order and unanimously did not talk to Putin. Nobody was allowed to talk to Putin. And then little by little was allowed, what's his name, Fico of Slovakia. Then it was Orban, or the other way around. And then it was the, how do you call it, Scholz, the other one, Scholz. And together with Macron, they dared to talk to Putin again, one time, over the phone. And should we talk, should we not talk? And then it's useless to talk to Putin. You sidelined yourselves. Besides the fact that the Russians at the beginning said, you don't have a foreign policy. You don't have an independent foreign policy. Your foreign policy is dictated by Washington. Washington, D.C., by the way. So that's the way it was. And these guys try to, I don't know, show their what? You have nothing to show. All right, so it's not about sidelining. And the European Union now talks about democracy. The European Union, not Europe. European Union, which is very democratic. Do you know how Ursula was voted in a democratic way as being the European Union Commission president or whatever she is? How come when it was her election, I will explain how the election was. When was the election? Have you ever heard of her? Where did she come from? Who catapulted her over there? So she was, just the way it works. In the European Commission, there's some people, elected people. And they said, well, who should we put in charge of us? And the defense minister in Germany said, I tell you to put von der Leyen. And this guy said, oh, that's a great idea. Let's put von der Leyen. And said von der Leyen, who's for her, who's against her? Oh, we're for her. That's how she was voted in the office. But where did she come from? Did she invent the cure of cancer or something? Did she create some, I don't know, technological something? Where I never heard of her before she was catapulted there. I should have heard about, but never heard of her as a politician of anything. Remember, she was not voted as a defense minister of Germany. She was not voted. She was appointed, catapulted. And now she was catapulted to be confirmed. There was a confirmation. It was not like, oh, let's vote everybody. I never voted for her. Did you vote for her? Did anybody in the European Union, as the European Union citizens, voted for the president of the European Commission, the person who represents the European Union? Nobody in Europe, I'm talking about the citizenry, voted for this person. And talk about democracy. And they tell these guys, US must not threaten EU democracy. It's true. United States must not threaten European Union's kind of democracy because it's a certain flavor. It's a tyranny, masqueraded as democracy. European Council President, another unelected guy, European Council President Antonio Costa has urged Washington to respect its allies despite differing worldviews. First, I would like to ask Mr. Costa, You remember Romania's elections were cancelled, void. Why? Because Mr. Călin Georgescu won. All right, that's democracy in the European Union. Oh, you want more? I will give you more. Do you remember Marine Le Pen, Front National? Do you remember in France? She was indicted. She might not be able to be a candidate anymore for about a few years until she dies or something. And then we're going to open another investigation when she's about to, if she survives, about to go and run for a position. Okay, do you remember Alternative for Deutschland? I think they're banned. The party is banned in two how do you call it, Bundes in Germany. That's democracy. Oh, by the way, this is European democracy for you. And it's much more, and it's coming much more. Why? The moment someone tries to rock the boat democratically and using the accepted rules, they will try to infringe that. Free speech. Free speech. And I'm not talking about England, who incarcerates people for being disrespectful to other people, which is a subjective thing. I mean, or insulted. I'm insulted over a lot of people when I walk down the street. Look at that fat fuck. Look at that stupid motherfucker. Oh my God, look at that hair. I'm insulted. I don't want to see them. I don't want to see them. My heart starts palpitating very fast and irregular. But it's okay. They can be like whales, land whales. It's fine. But if you say something, you're a whale land. Oh my God, land whale. Oh my God, that's insulting. You are insulting to my eye. But hey, I don't say that. Leave me the fuck alone. No. We're going to arrest you. You've been insensitive on social media, bullying. The government bullies us every day, levying taxes on us. More and more and more. Well, how about that one? Should we arrest the government? All right, next one. And let me tell you about the frozen assets. France won't let European Union seize chunk of frozen Russian funds. Financial Times says Paris has repeatedly opposed using money held in private French banks to finance Kiev. Japan rejects European Union plan to steal Russian assets. According to Politico, Financial Times and Politico are not Russian media outlets. The bloc wants to use Moscow's funds immobilized in West to cover Ukraine's budget deficit. So you got France, Japan, the Euro, whatever it's called, that company in Belgium, Euro bonds, not Euro bonds, I can't remember the name of it, where 140 billion euros of Russian assets are frozen. Belgium said, no, we're not going to do this. The European Union's central bank said, we can't do that. It's no legal precedent or no legality in doing so, including the freezing the assets. So again, but then we have this little article. British Prime Minister, so he's not a baboon supposedly. I mean, he's a baboon, but you know what I mean, as a Prime Minister, at least respect the office. But when you see that the office is destroyed by the people who are in charge of the office, you can't respect the office anymore. And this is what British Prime Minister says. Deal to release frozen Russian assets for Ukraine days away. What was this? And what was that? Nevertheless, man, he says that's days away. European Union member states are expected to announce a decision on confiscating Russian frozen assets this week or next. Okay, according to a report, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer believes the agreement on seizing up to 100 billion pounds, $135 billion dollars in Russian assets frozen in Europe is imminent and could be finalized within days. So these guys want to freeze more, and then probably they think they're gonna use them. They don't freeze them just to freeze them. They want to use that. It's like I use your money and get something out of it. I mean, why? Because you made a mistake in trusting me that you can invest in my country and we both profit out of that. No, I said, no, I'm going to take your money and I'm going to be profiting out of it. And you, I don't know, maybe you're going to nuke me. But hey, I will defend myself with this. Russia Today. Britain, I'm quoting, incapable of running nuclear submarines, ex-Royal Navy chief. Why is that? Let me tell you. The UK should focus on more cost-effective. I thought that Great Britain is an industrialized country with a lot of power. Systems such as drones. Like what? Retired Rear Admiral Philip Mathias has said. The UK is no longer capable of running a nuclear submarine program after years of mismanagement. Mismanagement. This is the direct quote. The UK is no longer capable of managing a nuclear submarine program. Performance across all aspects of the program continues to get worse in every dimension. This is an unprecedented situation in the nuclear submarine age. It is a catastrophic failure of succession and leadership planning. And they want to fight the Russians. It's not enough to sit on some nuclear bombs. You have to be able to deliver them. So these guys are, and I don't know what you know about English fleet, but the English were ruling the seas, the oceans for centuries. Napoleon could not beat them. What's his name? Hitler did not dare. I mean, he dared, but then you got all those things that happened, right? Tirpitz, and remember, not only, but what's going on here, my friends? These guys are destroying themselves, but they have a big mouth. But they could not be sidelined. You are an wannabe old news. You're like a, I don't know, former heavyweight boxing champion of the world who are about, I don't know, 68 years old. You still have a champ? Yeah, I still have a champ. Yeah. Let me, my jab. Right there. This is the problem, but I am a big mouth. This is Europe. Europe, no, I'm talking about the, used to be powerhouses. They're not anymore. But hey, let's see how the Pope will solve everything by praying. And by praying, his prayers will be heard and is going to be peace in Ukraine. All right, here you have it, Ukraine form. The Jew meets the Catholic. Pope Leo meets with Zelensky to discuss war. Great right there. Now, before you and I, just so you know, if I would be the last, the who wants to be the first should be the last, I wouldn't be in this kind of marble doors, all right? I wouldn't be like that. And yeah, you stole the pagan tradition with, that's very nice, Christmas, yeah. Christmas. We say Jesus Christ, but we call it Christmas. Not Christmas. Very intelligent. Anyway, so here it is. I disagree with these guys, which is the Pope. The Pope, I'm not saying he should live in a shack, but something close to a shack. All right? That's where the Pope should live. Yeah, not in the Basilica, St. Peter Basilica, and with all that, with marble, with guards, with all that. He needs to, how do you call it, be protected. I think faith should protect him. God. And besides, that's God's will. Thy shall be your whatever. Yes, that shall be your will. The same here, man. Why are you so scared, homie? At least they got rid of that Pope mobile and Jew with all those things. This is obviously. Anyway, Zelensky met the Pope to discuss peace, because the Pope is watching and reading what's going on in Ukraine. Let me tell you this. I know how much effort is not effort, because, it's effort because, I spend time, I get tired by reading, by understanding, by thinking about, analyzing, reaching conclusions, all these things. I know how much I do it regarding what's going on in Ukraine. And it takes a lot of time and a lot of energy. And so on, instead of doing something else. Now, this is only one issue. There are many issues on this planet that occur right now, but we're not told about it because they want to make this the main thing. Now, imagine the Pope. Do you think the Pope does what I do? No, the Pope has other people to do supposedly what I do and better, all right? And come and tell the Pope, this is what's going on here. Ukraine is the victim. Russia is the aggressor. Putin is an Orthodox. The other guy is a Jew. Be careful. All right. You must love this guy. You have to hate the other. Do you think the Pope knows anything about this? First, he should not even know. He should be more interested in praying for other people and all that. There are other imbeciles who should do that, but not he. He should be involved with God, in relationship with God, to help us all. And besides, he can pray and then everything is going to be solved. This is my take on that. And if you tell me that's simplistic, no, that's the way it really is. It is simplistic, made complicated. It's very clear. You're in charge of a group. That's it. We grip with God. Nobody said that you should be having a big basilica. It's according to Jesus Christ. Leave everything and follow me. Do you see that happening over there? Let me show you the picture. And I'm not bashing these guys, but I disagree with the comfort and luxury, just so you know, and receiving this guy. Next. Pope Leo the 14th and Zelensky discuss peace, POWs, and abducted Ukrainian children. I would like to know if he knows anything about the Russians' misery. They're speaking Russians. These are both short anyway. It doesn't really matter, right? So this is what a sincere conversation with Zelensky. All right, and here we go to something that Mr. Pope the 14th Leo doesn't know. United Nations Court to hear Russia's counterclaim in Ukraine's genocide case. Well, let me open the window for meow meow. That was a false flag operation conducted by my cat. All right, so United Nations Court to hear Russia's counterclaim in Ukraine genocide case. What do you mean? And they're going to use very vague language. I read this article for about 3 times and I said, what are these guys talking about? All right, I'm going to read it for you. You can understand better than I did. The International Court of Justice. This is not the ICC, okay? This is not a nation's body. This is the one. This is the one that really has something to do. Not the guys in, you know what I mean. The International Court of Justice, United Nations International Court of Justice, has found Russia's counterclaim against Ukraine admissible. So it's okay, yeah, let's look into it. In the case concerning Moscow's manipulation of the term genocide. The document follows the ICJ decision adopted on December 5. The case stems from, this is where it stems from, the lawsuit that Ukraine filed with ICJ in The Hague in the first days of Russia's full-scale invasion. In that application, Kiev seeks to prove that Russia has distorted and misused the concept of genocide in order to falsely claim that the Ukraine was allegedly committing these crimes in the territories of Donetsk and Luhansk Oblast, and to use those baseless accusations to justify its aggression against Ukraine. Well, it was precisely on the grounds of these fabricated claims of supposed acts of genocide that Russia adopted its legally null decision to recognize the pseudo-republics DPR, LPR, Donetsk and Luhansk People's Republic, and then launch its full-scale invasion of Ukraine, the victim, the so-called special military operation. The ICC has now ruled that Russia's counterclaim in this case is also admissible. You got it? As part of the ongoing procedures about genocide. So they're admissible. So let's see who's winning. Was it the genocide before the special military operation? Was the genocide after? Was it genocide on both sides? I think they're playing too loosely with the word genocide. I think, but what do I know? The point is, there's little, how should I put it, dogs or coyotes, they start barking and making noise. But you can pick the same line. So it's one coyote here, one over there. Well, what is going on? But they sing the same tune, the same note, right, on the same level. Ooh! And that is, things are changing about Ukraine. Things that are said right now, so this coyote is howling, right? These are things that were not said a year ago, or let alone 2 years ago or 3 years ago. So things are changing. That's the whole point. You have to look at the dynamics. You can, with frozen assets, countries come clearly and say, no, France, Japan, and Belgium? That would have been possible in 2022, 2023, and 2024. You would have called Russia, whatever, promoter and supporter and all that. And Trump to say you gotta have elections over there? Who, oh my God, who are you to? Poor little, okay? The same. Things change. We'll see how much really they change, or it's just a game. It's just oh, meow, meow. Yeah, thank you for stopping by. And I was gonna go over there and hit my thing. I'm gonna move it here for the great meow meow to bath. Little tail. All right. So We'll see. We'll see. I think all these moves in the right direction. The right direction. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.